Hi, I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you're one of my regular visitors here. If this is your first visit, a very big welcome to you. I really hope you like what you see, and assuming you do, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. So today, which is the 8th of August 2023, I'm bringing you one of my short heads up videos. And the subject for today is all about the manifestation energies that are supposed to be around with the energy of the Lionsgate 8-8 portal. So I'm going to have a look at what it is, why it's significant, and the astrology of today, and whether that actually links in with the actual energies of the manifestation or the manifesting energies implied by the Lionsgate portal. So first of all, the Lion's Gate as such means that it is a doorway. It is a way into something new, something more than what we were or what we have now. So you have to treat it a little bit like a new moon. It's a new opportunity. This energy has already been around since July the 28th and carries on till August the 12th. But the peak of the energies are today, the 8-8 portal. Before I launch into it, you might notice that I have a rather serious bruise on my arm, and to save you the energy of having to ask what it is in the comments and have I been run over by a steamroller, I can tell you it feels like I was. All I've done, it looks worse than it is. I was lifting something in an awkward way. It was my rubbish bag with the kitty litter in it, which was the used kitty litter. That's pretty heavy. I was lifting it to put it on the hook outside our building, and I twisted my arm in a funny way, and my God, the muscle tore. It was excruciating. Anyway, it's bruised quite badly. My physio and my doctor assure me not to worry, and I'm putting lots of ice on it, lots of lotions and potions and herbal remedies and some lovely green stuff, which if you read my mind, you will know what it is, and it grows profusely and has a very recognizable aroma, and that is turning out to be very soothing and healing. But I'm not going to say what it's called in case I'm not allowed to on YouTube. So you'll just have to psychically read my mind. Back to the Lionsgate portal and today, which is the 8th of the 8th. So what the actual, if you like, astronomy side of this is that the sun in Leo, hence Lionsgate, aligns with both the star Sirius and Orion. Now, you're probably familiar with this because we've heard a lot about it. If you've ever watched any of the programs about the Great Pyramid and the pyramids of Giza, there's a certain time of year when they are lined up with Sirius and Orion. And it's phenomenally interesting that even back then, or the fact is, back then, the ancients understood the progression and the precession of the equinoxes, of the stars. They lived their lives by how the sky played out. If you think of it in the olden days, how did ships navigate? They used the stars. And the Egyptians, basically, the importance of the arrival, the the rising of Sirius in the eastern sky. And so you will find that it is visible in the east over the next few days, and it's visible just before dawn. And it's in a star system or constellation called Canis Minor, and it's also known as the dog star. In Egyptian mythology, it was called, hang on, let me find her name. Her name is Sopdet. And this was the ancient Egyptian name they gave to the star Sirius. And they personified Sirius as Sopdet and an Egyptian goddess. So who was Sopdet and why was it so important? She was believed to be the wife of Orion. And she was the mother of Sop-Ed or Sop-Du, and she was also thought to give birth to the morning star Venus, which of course at the moment is retrograde. The pharaoh being described as the father in the pyramid texts. So she was linked closely with Isis and Orion, and they were also linked with Osiris and Horus. So the thing is, when Sirius became visible and lined up with the sun and Orion, they knew the Nile was about to flood. This was very, very important for their survival. They needed to know when to gather in their crops. They needed to know when to make channels to save the water that would come from the flooding of the Nile. So it was a particularly significant visual arrival of the star Sirius. I think what I find so fascinating, and this is where I feel astrology has such magic. The energies of these cosmic bodies, we know the moon affects what happens on our planet. It affects the sea, the tides. It affects the feminine, the female 28-day cycle is the same as the cycle of the moon. So Sirius and Orion seemed to exert some kind of, and I don't know, I'm not an astrophysicist or a scientist, but it seems as if symbolically, and we don't know, maybe literally, and maybe I could ask a galactic astrologer, they may know the answer to that, but maybe they actually do have an energetic kind of frequency that gets directed towards our planet as they move into a particular position, which means it affects the tides of the sea, the flooding of the Nile, for example. Another very interesting little bit of information I want to give you before I look at the astrology of today, to look at how and why this 8/8 Lionsgate Portal might be supported in your manifesting visualizations. So the other interesting thing is about the place I live, Malta, and the island of Gozo. We have many Neolithic temples. They were built in the shape of like the womb of a woman. So they were goddess temples. They would have a kind of they were built in circles, and circles that kind of connected. So there'd be a circle within a circle. And they predate the pyramids. The actual age of these temples that we have here is not really fully known. There's a lot of information out there. There's the mainstream historical information, and there's the off the grid kind of views and perceptions and ideas of the age of these temples. But what is so fascinating is, and I've mentioned this series before about Ancient Apocalypse that Graham Hancock did, which is on Netflix. Episode 3 is all about Malta and Gozo. And some of you will know this because I've mentioned it before. Episode 3 is all about Malta and Gozo. And with his research on the temples that we have here, he discovered through meeting, I'm not sure if she was German or Dutch, but she was I don't know, something like an astrophysicist or someone who, she studied the movement of the precession of the planets and the equinoxes over hundreds of thousands of years. She had a computer program that just could keep ticking back to work out, let's say, for instance, the position of Sirius 10,000 years ago. What she discovered was awesome. And if this is kind of a truth, then it's even more awesome, because how did the ancients know to build their temples in alignment with Sirius? Because she discovered every temple on Malta and Gozo is built facing a slightly different direction. And you would think normally they'll all point east to the sun. And on the equinoxes, the sun does hit them in a central point which lights up their inner altar. But when she worked out the mathematics, if you like, of the degree and the angle that the various temples were pointing at from when they were roughly constructed, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? They all point towards where Sirius was in the sky in that particular, let's say, 1,000-year time period. Wow. I mean, wow. I find that awesome. I just want to give you that information. So let's actually look at the astrology of today, because it is quite interesting in terms of what's happening in the sign of Leo, because of course it's called Lionsgate because the sun is in Leo. And the sun is basically today at the midpoint between Cancer and Virgo, because it's at 15 degrees. It's moving towards its kind of last degrees of Leo, where the new moon will come on the 16th. But today, retrograde Venus in Leo is conjunct Lilith in Leo at 23 degrees. Now, if you know your chart, 23 degrees, you need to look for in all the fixed signs, because this energy will be supercharging any personal planet you have around 22, 23 degrees in either Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, or Scorpio, the fixed signs. So if you know your chart, check that out, because this could be a very powerful manifesting time for you. Now, the interesting thing, of course, Venus is retrograde. We know Lilith is like the dark of the moon and the kind of shadow energy of the divine feminine. This kind of element of, we're not all, woman is not just pure and holy and kind of godly. Women give birth to babies, which means they have to have sexual intercourse. And remember, Lilith got thrown out of Eden because she would not be submissive to Adam, to the masculine. She wanted to be on top. And so let's think about this, because Venus retrograde in Leo, remember, is about entertainment, creativity. It can be children, it can be fun, partying, anything that brings you joy. It's lovely energy. It's beauty. Venus in Leo will be bringing out that kind of radiant kind of beauty, that side of her that feels attractive. And she's retrograde, which means in one sense she is gone from our sight. But she's not, is she? She's still there. But it's like she's moved into another room. And I think what Venus is doing with this conjunction to Lilith is the feminine, the divine feminine in you is embracing and working with your own shadow self, that inner Lilith that you have within you. I think this 8-8 portal is about manifesting on one level your self-worth, your self-esteem, if that has been lacking. This goes for the guys as well, because remember, we're all made up of many elements. We have masculine energies as well as feminine energies, and vice versa. And all the shades and colours in between, to make sure I'm being politically correct. So this for me is about feminine energy, whatever shade of energy you are, confronting your shadow and working with it and going, I can do this. It's like when Psyche goes in the underworld. Psyche, remember, is the myth of when Eros threw her out of their kind of love nest because she dared to truly know him. She held the candle up to see who he truly was. And he was so furious with her when he realized what she was doing that he cast her out. And if we take that symbolism, and I'm not going to go deeply into the story at the moment of Psyche and Eros, but what she has to do is perform various tasks, one of which involves going into the underworld to appease the goddess Aphrodite. Who is Aphrodite? Venus. So, you could almost say that Lilith is Psyche. She's been cast out like Lilith was from Eden. She's been cast out of her beautiful love pad, her love home, with Eros. And Aphrodite has basically said, you can have him back so you can reclaim the masculine in its full glory if you serve me well and you perform the tasks on an inner level that I am asking you to do. So there are various tasks that she has to perform. And the final one, and of course she succeeds with all of them, much to Aphrodite's kind of chagrin. And the last task is to go into the underworld and to bring back a pot of Persephone's rouge. Persephone, remember, she's another aspect of the feminine, and a little bit like when she's in the underworld, she's living out her Lilith side of the feminine, and when she's in the overworld with her mother Demeter, then she's living out her kind of more pure, good, the Eve archetype, if you like, from the Garden of Eden before she bit into the apple. So Psyche goes all the way down to get this pot of rouge from the dressing table of Persephone. Luckily, Persephone is not around. But she's been told, whatever you do when you get that pot, do not look inside. Do not open the pot. She finds it, she takes it, remembering very clearly, I must not open the pot. I must not open the pot. I must not look within. Because if I do, I will die. Because what happens is she opens the pot because her curiosity gets the better of her. And she falls into a deathly sleep because death resides within the pot. This is an incredibly important symbolic transition, because for all of us to fully become who we truly are, to be our authentic self, we have to go through lots of, in a sense, deaths. We have to die many times during our lifetime. And there is something of that energy around with this Venus conjunct Lilith today. Oh, the good news is that Aphrodite, Venus, forgives Psyche for opening Persephone's pot of rouge and says, I'm afraid I can't make you, kind of human again to sort of live and walk on the earth, but I can give you immortality, if that'll do, and I'll let you be with my son. And so Psyche says, okay, sounds like a good deal to me. So not only does she get the guy, but she gets immortality as well. How cool is that? So coming back to the astrology of today, and of course, as usual, I am talking forever and giving you all these stories. But basically today, what I want to say, because there is some challenging energy, but challenges are great. They make us grow. Neptune today, that is retrograde and is on the mid-heaven of this chart. Remember, Neptune, illusion, deception, confusion, also our psychic abilities, but it's sextiling, transformative retrograde Pluto in Capricorn. I think this Lionsgate is about breaking through the smokescreen or the illusions you may have been kidding yourself with. This is about you discovering more about yourself, discovering who you truly are. This is about you becoming your authentic self. And that is the greatest manifestation desire any of us could have. So I know I didn't bring you much astrology today, but you'll get more of that when I do the new moon, which I'm actually going to record now. And I just want to wish you a very interesting 8/8 Lionsgate. Work on that inner part of you. I mean, also this Leo energy is like, I just want to go out and party. And maybe that's also another way of expressing it in a different kind of way. I don't know, but there we go. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me for this pretty long heads up video. And please like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Bless you. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. I try and catch up with them daily. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks and bye for now.